All right, hey y'all. All right, so we're working on systems of equations. This is part 5 of our video series on systems of equations. And I found a really good worksheet on systems word problems. And actually, my students, most of you should have this worksheet. We never did it, but you should have it. And if you don't have it, you can go to the While You Were Out section of my Google Classroom and print it. And if you would like a copy of it and you are not in my classroom, just let me know and I can forward it to you. Or you can like Google search CUDA software systems of equations word problems, and this will come up because that's exactly how I got this. Yay, plug for CUDA. Please monetize me, that would be great. All right. So, okay, so systems words problems. So I'm just going to kind of work these with you. If you'd like, you could like print the sheet or have your copy of it and work it. And if you get stuck, you can watch the video with me or watch the video of me and work it. Or you could, or you know, if you're completely stuck, you can just do these as practice along with me. All right, so the trick to the word problems is the fact that you don't have an equation. You don't have 2 equations, and you've got to write not just 1 equation, because I know y'all, like some of y'all get so freaked out when, I don't know how to write the equation. So not only do you have to write 1 equation, you get to write 2. So yeah, it gets kind of fun here. Okay, so thing is, with all of these, with systems problems, you have 2 equations, and those 2 equations have 2 variables. So 2 equations with 2 variables. The biggest thing about these is that you need to define your variables. Like you need to tell me that X means this and Y means that. If you don't tell me which one's which, I'm not going to know, and I really technically won't know if you're correct or not. So we need to, we do need to define our variables. So let's read the first problem. And it says, Kristen spent $131 on shirts. Fancy shirts cost $28. Plain shirts cost $15. If she bought a total of 7, then how many of each kind did she buy? So let's think about the important information. Her total cost was $131. And she bought 2 kinds of shirts. She has fancy shirts, which are $28 a piece, and plain shirts, which are $15 a piece. And then she bought a total of 7. So the 2 things we're trying to find out is how many fancy shirts, how many plain shirts. So you could use X and Y if you just really like X and Y. I tend to do that sometimes, but for me, it's easier to pick the letter that we're talking about, or pick a letter that is the first word of what, or first letter of the word of what we're talking about. So like F for fancy shirts and P for plain shirts. And let me just go ahead and say this. When we say F is fancy and P is plain, this is like the number of fancy shirts and the number of plain shirts. So how many fancy shirts is F and how many plain shirts is P? And I think like we know that, but I just kind of want to clarify that. Okay, so what do we know? She bought a total of 7 shirts. So we don't know how many were fancy and how many were plain, but she bought a total of 7. So we're going to put F plus P equals 7. All right. Then we also know she spent a total of $131 on the shirts. So we have $15 for each plain shirt and $28 for each fancy shirt, and her total was $131. So we have our 2 equations. This is our system. We have 2 different equations and we have 2 different variables, and both variables are in both equations. Okay, so now we have to pick a solving method. So we can go a couple of different ways. We can choose to use substitution. We could choose to use elimination. You could choose to graph it. Personally, I would not graph it. I mean, you're going to have to get them both into slope-intercept form. You're gonna have to figure out if you're gonna have to choose if f is gonna be y or if p is gonna be y. And just, it's gonna be a pain in the butt, and you don't have a lot of graphs. I mean, you can go get graph paper, but you know, it's a lot faster and a lot easier to use one of either substitution or elimination, one of your algebraic methods. So, this one, it's really easy to go either way on it. So I think for me, let's do substitution first, because we need practice with both. So we'll do substitution here. So to do that, I'm going to have to solve one of these equations for one variable. So I'm going to have to either get f by itself or p by itself. If I look, it's going to be easier to manipulate the first equation because there's no coefficients. So the second thing I'm going to look at, it doesn't matter if you get f by itself or p by itself, because they're both easy here. But if I look, I'm going to have to multiply my expression by either 15 or 28. And again, the smaller the number, the easier the math. So let's do times 15, which means I'm going to have to replace p, which means p is what we should get by itself. So to get p by itself, I'm just going to subtract f. So p is going to equal 7 minus f. And I'm going to take this, go to this equation, and I'm going to replace p with 7 minus f. So let's do that here. We're going to do 15 times p, which again, 7 minus f. So 15 times 7 minus f, let's see, plus 28f equals 131. All right, so let's distribute that 15 first. Let's see, I know 15 times 8 is 120. So if you subtract 15 from that, 15 times 7 should be 105. So 105 minus, well, 15 times f is just 15f plus 28f equals 131. All right, so let's combine our like terms first. And 28 minus 15 should be 13. So we have 105 plus 13f equals 131. We're going to subtract the 105 from each side. We're just getting into solving equations now, kind of the easier part. We have 13f equals, I should probably pull out a calculator. Being good at math means knowing your limits. Not that I can't do it in my head, I'm just choosing not to. I'm tired. I'm actually, like, I guess y'all really don't care, but I'm filming all of these videos back to back so I can just get them out of the way. So I'm tired. I'm getting there. All right, so I get 13f equals 26. We're going to divide both sides by 13, and f equals 2. All right, so I have one equation, or I have one